inspiring travel. Watch now on iPlayer.
Live from London, this is BBC News. A decisive moment for the Gaza ceasefire talks. America's top diplomat is in Israel for discussions as the Israelis and Hamas both blame each other for blocking a deal. Kamala Harris is in Chicago for the Democratic National Convention. She'll be formally confirmed as the party's presidential candidate to face Donald Trump in November's election. One person is dead, 6 are still missing after a super yacht sinks off the coast of Sicily. We have live pictures coming to us from off the coast. Our rescuers are still there, urgently searching for the missing. As a new, deadlier strain of Mpox spreads around the globe, we talk to a team of specialists to get your questions answered. Do get in touch. And live pictures coming to us from South Korea in a moment. A spectacular sunset across the UK last night, a rare blue supermoon, and take a look at this. This is South Korea right now, the supermoon hanging over the skies of the South Korean capital. Hello, I'm Lucy Hockings. Welcome to BBC News Now. 3 hours of fast-moving news, interviews and reaction. Now is probably the best, maybe the last, opportunity to secure a ceasefire and hostage release deal in Gaza. Now, those were the words of the US Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, who's been holding talks with Israel's Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, in Tel Aviv. The US expressing optimism about a deal, but that level of optimism not shared by the Israeli leadership or Hamas. Let's bring you an update now on our breaking story in the last hour. 6 people are missing and 1 person has died after a luxury yacht sank in the early hours of Monday off the coast of Sicily. Now, the Italian Coast Guard says 4 Britons, 2 Americans and a Canadian citizen are missing. And what we're seeing here now is live pictures from off the coast of Sicily because a rescue effort is still very much. Quite an evocative statement there, Tom, from one of the fishermen who was experiencing what was happening there. But what do we know about what's happening there at the moment? Tom, thanks so much for that. We are getting updates from the Coast Guard and from the authorities and our own team as well, who are on the way to Sicily. We have a live page up and running on the BBC News website. If you'd like to stay across the story and keep following it, do log on and you'll get regular updates on the situation there. And we will also keep across it for you here on BBC News. Health experts in the east of the Democratic Republic of Congo say a reluctance to seek hospital treatment is undermining efforts to tackle the outbreak of Mpox. A doctor in South Kivu province, where there have been more than 4,000 cases and 30 to 40 new infections every day, said a lack of drugs was also a problem. Last week, the World Health Organization declared the Mpox outbreak that has been spreading rapidly across parts of Central Africa a public health emergency of international concern. Simijol also has more for us. The latest there from Nairobi, and in about 10 minutes' time, we're going to be answering all of your questions on Mpox with a panel from Nairobi. Geneva will be live in Wales as well with our experts. So I hope you can join us in 10 minutes' time. Here in the UK, the government has activated emergency measures to ease prison overcrowding as more rioters are sentenced for their part in recent disorder. Across the north of England, defendants waiting for a court appearance will be kept in police cells until prison space is made available. The chairman of the Prison Officers Association has been explaining just how the system will work. Let's take you live now as well to Sicily because we are keeping across the rescue operation that is still taking place here. 1 man has died and 6 other people are missing after a super yacht has sunk off the coast of Sicily during some really bad weather that they had in the middle of the night. There were 22 people on board, we know, but emergency services rescued only 15, including a 1-year-old child. So those search efforts continuing right now off the coast of Sicily. We're keeping a close eye on this story, and there is also also a live page up and running on the BBC News website if you want to follow developments. Do stay with us. Coming up, we've got your questions answered on Mpox.
Hello there. We've seen some real stormy weather across Central Europe just recently. Over the weekend in Vienna,
more defining presidential election.
Americast, a BBC News podcast untangling America. Listen on BBC Sounds.
Hello, I'm Lucy Hockings. For the next 20 minutes, we're going to be focusing on the Mpox outbreak and the World Health Organization declaring it an emergency. We're going to take you through what we know and answering all of your questions. So first, let's remind ourselves of the facts. The WHO is saying there have been more than 14,000 cases and 524 deaths in Africa this year, which already exceeds last year's figures. So far, more than 96% of all cases and deaths are in a single country, the DR Congo, Democratic Republic of Congo. WHO have labelled this a public health emergency of international concern. Now that is important because it's the same category used in the past for Ebola outbreaks, for COVID-19 as well, and for the Mpox outbreak in Europe back in 2022. Well, on Wednesday, the World Health Organization called on countries to work together to stop the outbreak. Thank you so much, all of you, for joining us here on Your Questions Answered on Mpox. Great to have you with us. Dorcas Wangera, Dominic Hughes, Professor Jimmy Whitworth and Bronwyn Nicol. Thank you so much. Welcome back. Ukraine is continuing its incursion into Russia's Kursk region with confirmation from Moscow that a third crucial bridge has been damaged. Kyiv says it seized over 80 settlements since launching a surprise strike on the region, which borders eastern Ukraine 2 weeks ago. Ukraine's President Zelensky saying the assault on Kursk is aimed at carving out a buffer zone on Russian territory. Writing on Telegram, he said Ukraine was achieving its goals and wearing down Moscow's war machine.
Conclude the programme. Here is Albert Flamenco.
Hello there, good afternoon. Well, it's going to feel very much as if autumn has arrived at times this week.
Cover, but just because I'm a disabled person doesn't mean that I should only ever cover stories to do with disability. And that's a very fine line to tread, but hopefully I'm getting it right.
Live from London, this is BBC News.
Today,
a
one
decisive
emergency
moment for the Gaza Ceasefire talks. America's top diplomat is in Israel for discussions as the Israelis and Hamas both blame each other for blocking a deal.
Defendants won't be taken
One
from
person
police
is dead,
cells
six
to
are still
court
missing
until
after a
there's
super
prison
yacht
place ready
sinks
for
off the
them,
coast
as
of
jails
Sicily.
struggle to
Crew
find
on a
enough
nearby
space.
yacht described a huge gust
Also
of wind.
on the programme, 7 people are missing, including 4 British tourists, after a yacht sinks off the coast of Sicily.
The storm was over, we noticed that
a 4-week amnesty on machetes and zombie knives is announced in England and Wales.
Kamala Harris is in Chicago for the Democratic National Convention. She'll be formally confirmed as the party's presidential candidate to face
bills are
Donald Trump in
expected to
November's
rise
election.
again in October by 9%.
These are live pictures coming to us from South Korea. The world preparing to catch sight of a rare blue supermoon, and sky watchers in Seoul are for a real treat right now. This is what they're seeing if they're outside.
On his role
it's a
at Chelsea
spectacular
after being left
lunar
out
event.
of the squad that lost to Manchester City.
Hello, I'm Lucy Hockings. Welcome to BBC News Now. 3 hours of fast-moving news, interviews and reaction. Now is probably the best, maybe the last opportunity
the government has activated
secure a
emergency
ceasefire and a
measures to
hostage
ease
release
prison
deal in
overcrowding
Gaza.
in parts
Those are the words
of northern
the US
England
Secretary
and
of
the
State
Midlands.
Antony Blinken,
Operation
who has been
Early
holding
Dawn
talks
means
with
that
Israel's
defendants
Prime
waiting
Minister
to appear
Benjamin
in court
Netanyahu in Tel
will be
Aviv.
kept in police
The US
cells
has
until
expressed
a prison
optimism
space
about a
is
deal.
available for
That
them.
level of
It comes
optimism,
as more
though, is
people are
not shared
sentenced
by
for
the
taking
Israeli
part in
leadership
violent
or by
disorder
Hamas.
across England.
John, good to see you. Thanks so much. Do stay with us. Here in the UK, the government has activated its emergency measures to ease prison overcrowding. We'll be taking a look at what that could mean. Stay with us on News Now. Welcome back. Health experts in the east of the Democratic Republic of Congo say reluctance to seek hospital treatment is undermining efforts to tackle the outbreak of Mpox. A doctor in South Kivu province, where there have been more than 4,000 cases and 30 to 40 new infections every day, said a lack of drugs was also a problem. Last week, the WHO declared the Mpox outbreak that has been spreading rapidly across parts of Central Africa a public health emergency of international concern. Simi Jaloso has more. Now, a rare blue supermoon is forecast tonight here in the UK, bigger and brighter than usual because the moon's orbit will bring it closer to the Earth. And that's not the only thing that may have caught people's eye here in the UK in recent days, because spectacular sunrises and sunsets like these have been spotted right around the country. And that's because smoke particles from wildfires across the Atlantic have given the sky an unusual hue. This is BBC News, the headlines. A decisive moment for the Gaza ceasefire talks. America's top diplomat is in Israel for discussions as the Israelis and Hamas both blame each other for blocking a deal. One person is dead, 6 others are still missing after a super yacht sinks off the coast of Sicily. A captain on a nearby boat described a huge gust of wind.
We managed to keep the ship in position, and after the storm was over, we noticed that the ship behind us was gone.
Kamala Harris is in Chicago for the Democratic National Convention. She will be formally confirmed as the party's presidential candidate to face Donald Trump in November's election. And as thousands gather in Edinburgh, we will have the latest from the city's spectacular festival fringe. Hello, I'm Lucy Hockings. 7 people are missing, including 4 British tourists, after a yacht has sunk off the coast of Sicily. One body has been recovered by the Coast Guard, who rescued 15 other people. Our correspondent Tom Simons has the latest. Do stay with us. This is BBC News. Millions of people around the world have long COVID, but have you ever wondered how much the days off work that they have to take could cost the economy? Well, we have some latest figures now from Australia, and it's billions of dollars. Nikki Schiller is here with more. And having this data helps to ensure that every animal we care for is healthy, eating well and growing at a rate that they should be, which is a key indicator of health and well-being. More than 14,000 animals in the care of the zookeepers at the London Zoo. There they are, even underwater as well. But this is a day that provides some wonderful pictures for us all to enjoy of the animals having their health check.
of Scotland, longer spells
Ukraine
of rain
is carrying
and
out
also
its
some
most
showers, but
audacious
elsewhere some sunny spells
from
and temperatures
the
will be
Sumy region
feeling
here
fresher,
into
so
Russia
a dip
itself.
for
But
most
the
of us. More wet and windy
risks
weather
are
through the
great.
rest of the week.
You can follow all of the developments with me,
Lucy,
James Waterhouse,
thank you.
and colleagues
that is all
on
from
BBC
today's
News.
BBC News at 1. Thanks for watching and enjoy your afternoon. Goodbye.
The future is already here.
All about AI changing our jobs.
From gadgets to gaming.
May the best driver win. It won't be me.
Sustainability to AI.
Giant nets and AI robots to deal with plastic pollution.
The latest developments from the world of tech.
A floating solar farm, and it's a pretty impressive sight.
Wow! That went right through me!
Click on BBC News.
Live from London, this is BBC News. One person is dead, 6 are missing after a super yacht sinks off the coast of Sicily. British tech entrepreneur Mike Lynch is reportedly amongst those missing. A decisive moment for the Gaza ceasefire talks. America's top diplomat is in Israel for discussions as the Israelis and Hamas both blame each other for blocking a deal. Kamala Harris is in Chicago for the Democratic National Convention, where she'll be formally confirmed as the party's presidential candidate to face Donald Trump in November's election. President Zelensky says Ukraine wants to create a buffer zone in Russia's Kursk region after destroying multiple bridges. BBC Verify investigates the footage. And as the world prepares to catch sight of a rare blue supermoon, skywatchers in Seoul are treated to a spectacular lunar event. Hello, I'm Lucy Hockings. Welcome to BBC News Now. One man has died and 6 others, including 4 British tourists, are missing after a yacht sank in the early hours of this morning off the coast of Sicily. There are reports that the British technology tycoon Mike Lynch is among those missing. Now, those reports are coming from Reuters and the PA news agency in London. The BBC is yet to confirm this. The incident took place in the Mediterranean off the coast of the Italian island of Sicily. One body has been recovered by the Coast Guard, who rescued 15 other people. Our correspondent Tom Simons has the latest for us. Stay with us on BBC News Now. We're also going to be taking you to Chicago, where Kamala Harris has arrived at the Democratic National Convention. She's going to be formally confirmed as the party's presidential candidate. Welcome back. Let's take you to the US now. And Kamala Harris has arrived in Chicago for the Democratic National Convention. She'll be formally confirmed as the party's presidential candidate. Ms. Harris is expected to join President Biden on stage when he addresses the convention later. We have some pictures coming to us from the venue. Security very tight there ahead of the 4-day event. They're expecting protests outside. But early in the morning, not much activity there at the moment, but it will certainly be the focus for many in the US over the next 4 days. A huge event that is televised and watched by many. There for us is our correspondent Emma Vardy, who has been out and about and sent us this report. Back to the live pictures that we're getting from Sicily, because a search and rescue operation is still underway. After a luxury super yacht, the Gaza, sank off the coast of Sicily. It happened early in the morning at about 4:30 local time. We know one person has been confirmed dead. 6 people are still missing, and amongst those reportedly missing is the British tech entrepreneur Mike Lynch. The BBC unable to confirm that at the moment, but sources speaking to the Reuters news agency have said that British tech entrepreneur Mike Lynch is amongst those missing. The Italian Coast Guard is there. They're leading the search. There are divers we've seen, helicopters as well, still scouring the area, but they have already located the wreck at a depth of about 50 metres. That's about 164 feet below the water's surface. And the captain of a nearby boat has been telling news crews that he managed to rescue 15 people from a life raft. More on this story come up. Stay with us.
Hello there. Let's take a brief look now at the weather forecast for Europe as we head through the
latest developments from the world of tech.
I could come up with a date predicting when you would die.
Pat your head, rub your stomach.
This is actually a floating solar farm, and it's a pretty impressive sight.
I think it's quite cool.
Wow! That went right
Live
through
from
me!
the New York Stock Exchange.
Click.
Now on
Watch on BBC
News
iPlayer.
Business Today. Opening bell.
Live from New York at the opening bell, this is Business Today. Caution on Wall Street. Markets open subdued with investors focused on Jackson Hole. Plus a record offer. Canadian buyers are circling the Japanese retail giant 7-Eleven. And taxing the super rich. Campaigners say that Spain has the right answer to wealth inequality. Welcome to Business Today. I'm Michelle Fleury, where US markets are muted at the start of the week. A big week indeed, because the Democratic National Convention starts today in Chicago. Wall Street also has its eyes on another major event. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell is due to address a gathering of central bankers this Friday at a symposium in Jackson Hole. With investors anticipating a rate cut in September, they are looking for clues on future rate policy. And that is all we have time for. Stay with us here on BBC.
We're going to start with what's happened.
Business on BBC News. Make the connection.
Hello from the BBC Sports Centre, I'm Tanya Arnold. Fast bowler Matthew Potts has been called up to the England Test side for the first time in a year in place of captain Ben Stokes, who's been ruled out of the series against Sri Lanka with a hamstring injury. The other change sees Dan Lawrence come in for injured opener Zach Crawley. Well, our sports correspondent Joe Wilson is at Old Trafford in Manchester, where the first Test starts on Wednesday. So, Joe, England have opted to bring in a bowler rather than try to find a like-for-like replacement for Stokes and an all-rounder. That is all your sport for now, Lucy.
Tanya, thank you so much. Let's return you now to the coast of Sicily, where one man has died and 6 others, including 4 British tourists, are missing after a luxury super yacht sank in the early hours of this morning. Now, we are getting reports that the British technology tycoon Mike Lynch is among those missing. Those reports coming from Reuters and the PA news agency in London. Let's just remind you of the breaking news that we have had in the past few minutes or so, that the UK tech entrepreneur Mike Lynch has been confirmed amongst those who are missing after a super yacht sank off the coast of Sicily at about 4:30 this morning. Several sources close to what is going on in Sicily have confirmed as well that his wife, Mike Lynch's wife Angela, has been rescued. But British tech entrepreneur Mike Lynch, who is 59, is among those who are missing. We can also tell you that one man has died, 6 other people are missing. After this yacht sank, there were 22 people on board at the time in total. 15 people have been rescued, and that includes a 1-year-old child. The mother of the 1-year-old has been giving interviews to Italian media and saying she was absolutely terrified, but she hung on to her child with all of her strength. And we hear now that they have been taken to hospital and are doing well. But this big search and rescue operation continues. The Coast Guard are out on the harbour, and there are helicopters in the air as the search continues off Sicily. More on that story coming up here on BBC News. Do stay with us.
Hello there. Let's take a brief look now at the weather forecast for the world over the next day or so.